Hi, my name is Hayley Konadu, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I am happy to be joined by Hayley Konadu. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I am good, thank you. I'm so excited to chat, and we were just talking before this interview that it's been a long time coming. It's been around a few months since we initially reached out, but we're so happy to finally sit down and talk about season one of Lockwood Co. So we'll get into that in just a moment, but I wanted to start off asking you about your background in the arts. What can you share and what sparked that passion in you?
When I was younger, my mom's a single mom, so she would always put me, so she was working a lot, so she would put me in like after school clubs, mainly focused on like performing arts, but more so dance and music and like sort of drama was there sometimes. So I was quite creatively inclined as a child. I played the flute, and I loved just performing arts in general, but it was more of a hobby for me. And then I think when I was 16, I signed myself up to be part of a local musical in my local theatre, the Kiln Theatre. And I remember it was called Cricklewood Broadway, and I played the reporter. And it was a small, very tiny role. And that's the first time I sort of like acted, sort of officially, I guess that's the right word. Um, and I really loved it. I loved the thrill of it. I loved being on stage. Um, I was scared. It was scary, but like it was like after doing it, I love the feeling of like achieving something. So that I guess sort of sown the seed of like, oh, I want to sort of explore acting and drama and what this world is. Um, and then I sort of chose it for A level. I studied theatre studies, and my teacher, who I'm still really close with now, she like expanded my mind when it came to sort of drama and acting in a theatre world. And yeah, she made me really appreciate like the art itself, and not necessarily acting, but just the art itself. And um, I really like grew a love for it. But I wasn't confident enough to sort of pursue acting then. I was like, I'm really interested in just getting to know about theatre, its history, plays. Um, yeah, I was really interested in sort of that side, the academic side a little bit. So I went to uni and I studied drama and English. And then my lecturer in uni was like, I think you should pursue this like professionally. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I haven't been to drama school. I don't know. I'm in uni now. Um, but yeah, my lecturer sort of, as well as my A level teacher, sort of gave me like tools. Um, yeah, gave me places to go to like get sort of subsidized training or free training. Told me to sort of apply for youth theatres. So yeah, I think it was from like the end of uni, I auditioned for National Youth Theatre. I got in, and from there is where I sort of really started my acting journey. Um, I think the end of uni for me was really pivotal because I think we done a unit which was purely performance rather than performance in theory. And I think I remember that performance and I was just like, oh, maybe I can actually do this. Or like, not even I can, but like before it didn't really seem accessible to me to like become an actor. Like I felt like it was like far out of my reach. Like I'd have to, I don't know, every time I spoke to people about acting, it's like I wanted to be an actor from five, or like I've applied for drama school three times. And for me, I was just like, I just enjoy learning about it. But I think that performance in uni, I was like, oh no, I think I can actually do this, or at least try. So yeah, after that, audition for National Youth Theatre, and I think that doing that course actually changed my let's say changed my life, but like it really expanded my mind and to the industry, and sort of allowed me to be part of a creative community, and meet people who I'm still sort of best friends with today. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm on a big tangent. Again, my
It's
brain just like,
completely fine. I love hearing that story, basically how it
yeah,
started for you to, kind of graduating, going to school. I love that feeling for you. I think a lot of artists, I'm sure, in life deal with a bit of imposter syndrome, but you found
yeah.
that moment of realization for you, and it's something that's so, I'm sure, fulfilling not only for you, but for the people who have gotten you to that point in time. You mentioned, theater, drama experience. What do you most enjoy and value about this type of storytelling, in contrast to TV and film?
Oh, yeah. I love the aliveness of theatre. I think theatre is so magical because um, you can really like the performance you do every single night will never be the same, and it will never be the same audience. And even if it's the same things you're saying, it will never be the same experience. Like, and I think that's so magical. Like it happens once and that's it. Um, so we're all experiencing something together, like the actor, the audience, taking the audience on a journey in actual liveness through a period of time, through 90 minutes, through 2 hours. Yeah, I think, I think that's what makes theatre special for me. Um, yeah, I enjoy that type of story. But also, I think with TV, and I think that's that's all equally as magical, but in a different way. But yeah, I'd say the aliveness of theatre. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely get that progression in different forms. Like you mentioned, theater that's like kind of live, one take, and then through film and TV, you still get that progression, but sometimes it's comprised of, multiple
Yeah.
takes and things like that. You mentioned dance earlier. You are, I think, skilled in choreography, is it African dance, choral singing? So is the music and dance aspect something you also really enjoy? Like what brings you joy doing that on stage in front of others?
Yeah, it's so strange. Like I'm learning to like walk in what I know I can do. And sometimes when people are like, you're a dancer, I'm like, I'm not. I just like to move my body. I wouldn't say I'm a professional dancer by a long shot, but no, I love movement. I love connecting with my body, and yeah, just how movement can also tell a story. Um, I really love exploring that movement and breath, and um, yeah, just moving in a space, and um, yes, the joy it brings. I feel like movement brings so much joy, especially choral movement. Yeah, yeah.
You're also a facilitator yourself in acting and theater. Has it been nice to kind of give back, share some of the skills and knowledge that you've obtained with the next generation and others?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love it. I always said to myself, because I participated in so many youth theatres, programs, organizations, that helped me discover sort of or grow in confidence in my acting skills, in theatre making skills, allowed me to explore sort of any creative medium. I always said to myself that I want to be part of that when when and if I can. So when I had the opportunity to facilitate, I just jumped at it because I think it's so valuable and useful. And I always said I want to create a space because I know how valuable and useful it was for me, not necessarily in my sort of career in acting, but also me as a person, and for me to grow as a person in confidence, and to sort of, I wouldn't say find my voice. I think my voice hadn't always been there, but to be confident with my voice and to take up space. That's the word. Take up space with my voice. I love facilitation. I love creating a space and collaborating with young people. That's the key word there. Collaborating with young people in helping them find their voice, growing their confidence, sharing the knowledge I have, and also giving them freedom to chuck it away and find and allow them to and give them tools to find their own sort of I guess knowledge or what works for them, what's useful for them. I think that's what I've learned is that actually being in the position I'm in now as an actor, I'm so confident to be like, oh, that works for me. That doesn't quite work for me. In terms of what I learn as an actor, like the methods and different ways of how people create a character, how people build a character. And I guess, yeah, being in those sort of environments, collaborating with young people, I really, I guess what I try to do is to like get them to understand that they also have control over their own, I guess, creativity, and their creativity matters, and their creativity is needed in this world. Got there in the end.
That is such a like kind of sweet sentiment, and it's something I'm sure you've kind of learned over the years, and that's also what you really want to impart on others. You've been vocal on your platforms about celebrating Black joy, empowering Black artists in film. Tell me about your advocacy and the importance of being a part of projects that place that emphasis and importance on diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, I think I am so passionate about my community, and that is London, my cultural heritage. I'm Ghanaian, and I'm passionate about like just amplifying, yeah, Black voices, Black women in particular, voices from London, Northwest London. I think it's not even cliche, but like I think that for so long our stories have been misrepresented, underrepresented, sometimes two-dimensional, and yeah. So I guess I wouldn't say that like it's like it's who I am, rather than like this is what I'm here to do. Like it's actually who I am. Like I'm always gonna like be of celebration when for everything Black, because that's who I am. And I feel like yeah, for so long it's and because of systemic racism, the way the world is, it just we haven't been sort of represented in a positive way, in an accurate way, in a multifaceted way, in a human way, where we like I wanna be part of stories that show the breadth of like who we are as, I don't know, I won't even say Black culture, but just, yeah, who we are as people. So everything that I do, from the stories I tell, the characters I take on, I really ensure that, yeah, showcasing an element of me in that as a Black woman. Yeah, and I think joy is what we haven't seen a lot when it comes to Black stories, and that's not to say that the stories that we have seen are you know, anything bad. Like it's necessary. I think all Black stories are necessary, and I think that's why, like, that's what I'm really passionate about. Yeah, just to show the breadth like not the breadth, what's the word? Oh, words fail me today. I guess it is the breadth, isn't it? The multifaceted layers of the beauty of Black stories humanizing us.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah,
I love how you said, it's not necessarily something that you have a purpose for because it's something that, I mean, it's ingrained in you, and that's
yeah.
what you're kind of out there sharing with the world. Are there any local organizations or even theater companies that we talked about before that you would like to give mention to?
Oh yes. um Generation Arts, a free organization that works with 18 to 25-year-olds who are looking to get into theatre and acting, who just can't access the arts due to whatever circumstance. They are amazing. National Youth Theatre, which I've been a part of, still am a part of in terms of facilitation. Every youth theatre in London. I can think of Kiln, the Bush Young Company, Purple Moon Drama. I'm going to regret this when I come off this line because I probably remember so many more, but that's all I can think of now. Stratford East Young Company, Talawa Theatre Company, can't forget them. Oh, there's a Black Theatre Ticket Project, amazing. There are so many. What are they called? Oh no, I've forgotten. But yeah, I will send you a list if you can add it to the end because they are just doing amazing work, such amazing, important, necessary work, making the arts accessible, which is something that I'm really, really passionate about. Because if you have a talent and if you have a desire to act, I find it really sad and unfair that money has to be a barrier to access that. Yeah.
Now, as we go talk about season 1 of Lockwood Co, I will note that we are discussing spoilers. So for all those watching, please make sure you have caught up on Netflix. First off, can you take me through your audition process?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that was a wild time. Yeah, so I got sent the tape through or the request to audition September of 2021. Just thinking of the timeline because COVID sometimes blurs everything. So it's just like, what year are we in? Yeah, September 2021. I got sent the audition through. And yeah, and then I got seen 5 times after that when I sent the tape through. And then I got told officially that I got the role in November. And then I think it was so fast. It was so fast. I think like a week after I was shooting my first scene. It was like from when I handed in my tape, there was a bit of a gap, and then I got seen in face to face, and that was within like 2 weeks being seen like 4 times, 5 times, and then I got told I got the role, and then I was straight into like, your first scene, go. But like it was such, and I always say this to people, like it was the most amazing audition process ever. And and auditions, I am the worst. Like I get so nervous. But with this one, I really felt that the producers and the director really made it a safe, not even a safe space, but a comfortable space where I could really like play and bring my version of who Flo is to the audition room. It was really fun. And I know I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm calling an audition fun. I remember like going through and I was like, if I don't get this role, I had so much fun during this audition process, and I want to take everything that I've learned from this audition process to other audition processes. So but thankfully I did get the role. Yay.
It was going to be a learning experience for you, but I'm glad it turned out to be, that full project. What kind of dialogue or scenes did you have to perform for your audition? Like for that first self-tape, was it something that appeared in the show?
Yeah, it was. So I got sent, I can't remember, I think it was three scenes. Yeah, three scenes. The first scene was me and George on the boat in Ep7 when we first leave Lockwood and Lucy, and Flo is telling George that she's double booked. So that whole sort of dialogue, that's what I sent through as my audition tape. The next one was, oh my gosh, it was when I first meet Lucy and Lockwood on the Thames, and me and Flo and Lucy get into it. And the third one was another scene which didn't quite make it into the actual show. It was another scene between me and Lucy, I think, but that didn't quite make it to the show. I didn't do that scene moving forward in the audition process. Yeah.
Did you meet only the producers early on in your audition? Like, did you meet any of the cast before you were officially cast?
No, I only met Ali during our screen test. But in like the audition process, it was the producers and the director. Yeah.
Did you have a good feeling about it, or are you one of those people who, you're kind of cautiously optimistic, you don't want to get your hopes up on anything?
Yeah, I'm more on the side of caution. Like, I'm cautiously optimistic, but because it was such a it was, don't get me wrong, when I say it was a fun audition process, I was still nervous. I was still really nervous, but like, I think as I was brought in more and more, my nerves sort of dissipated a little bit. So like, I think during my screen test, I remember I was like, oh crap, I'm like dangerously close now. So I was still trying to be quite like, it's okay, Hayley, they're seeing a lot of people, like like, don't get your hopes up, but also this could potentially happen. So yeah, I think I didn't allow myself to get like, oh, I could possibly get it. I think the last time I saw the producers, that was my last official audition after the screen test. I think then I was like, oh, I think I am quite close now. Which I was grateful for, because as an actor, like, even just to get in the room, it's such a blessing. So in my mind, I was just like, to get this far, even though I would have been disappointed if I didn't get it, to get that far, like, it would have been a massive achievement for me in my journey. So yeah, I was trying to remain sort of optimistic either way. Yeah.
What kind of research or preparation did you do for Flo Bones?
Oh yes, it's so funny because I'd never heard of Lockwood Co until I auditioned for it. So I was literally, and because it was such a quick turnaround, I didn't have time to read the book when I was auditioning. So thank God for fans. Thank you, fans. Honestly, thank you. I literally went online and I was going on like all sort of like the fan sites that they created, and like just trying to get as much info as I can on Flo, but also learning the world. And Jonathan Stroud, incredible, has created such a detailed world. So I think whilst auditioning, my main goal was just to get to grips with this world, because even some of the language in the in the sides. And when I was auditioning, I was like, what does this mean? What is a type 2? What does ghost lock me? So I was really trying as much. I just done lots of research online, looked at loads of fan sites, Tumblr sites, just went through it all and wrote everything down. So that really helped me during the audition, just to get a little bit of an essence of Flo. And then after, when I got the role, I read the book, the first 2 books. I didn't want to read anymore, just because I already had like a flow in mind, and I think sometimes for me, reading something might change what I've already got. So I read the first 2, which gave me a little essence and flavor of who Flo was, and then just started sort of character building. I do lots of character lists. I made a massive timeline of, like, I read all of the episodes and I made a timeline of Flo throughout the episodes, even the ones that she's not featured in, just to have a like insight into like what she might not be, what she may be doing when she's not with like Lockwood and Co, when she's not sort of with them, essentially. Really done lots of like character building. I had a song as well. I know Ali had a playlist. I had a song that I worked with the acting coach, Jill McCluffy and Jilly, and just came up with a song for Flo. Because Flo, in a way, she's similar to me, but so different, because she's so straight talking and just doesn't care. And she is who she is. And there was a song called I Am What I Am by Gloria Gaynor. And I would listen to that on the way to set and in my dressing room, and just like sing it out to myself, and just like, I am who I am, what I am. Just to like help me, just to like really sit in Flo, who Flo is. Yeah.
Everyone has like something that really helps them get into character. So that's you just like shouting that song out to remind yourself. In terms of flows.
Sometimes, and sometimes like the acting coach will like shout it to me before I like begin a scene or something, or I literally shout it in my head, or like I'd go into a corner and just say it to myself, and then I'd go in, and it would just like center me as Flo, because like, yeah, Flo is so weighty as a character. She's unpredictable. She's she's great. I love her. So complex. So yeah, just trying to really get the truth in that. Doing that research and having that song really helped anchor me in the character.
What did you kind of determine in terms of her goals, her personality? Like, how old is Flo supposed to be in the series?
Yeah. Well, I spoke to the producers about it, and we sort of came to the rough age of like 19, 20 ish. Like 19, 20. So she's definitely like slightly older than Lockwood, Lucy, and George. So we sort of sat on that age. I had the producers, the writers were so amazing. Like, any question I had, they would just email me like paragraphs upon paragraphs of like just information, and you could just tell that like the amount of research and like the investment they had into the show, and it paid off, because it's such a great show in my personal opinion. But like, yeah, so that really helped. If I had any question, we would sit down and we would chat about it. If there was like anything that I wanted to bring to the character, or like it was always an open dialogue with them. So yeah.
so important to have that collaboration, and it's nice to see that you could provide input into Flo as well, because obviously with like the novel to TV adaptation, sometimes you it becomes this line where you're like, you have this rich world, and if you want to go exclusively like from the source material, or you also want to bring your own layers. And I'm glad that I think Jonathan Stroud seems to be really open to a bit of both in his work.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, and I think because I hadn't read like all the books that time during that time, I was still a bit like, okay, so what does this mean in the future? Like, so it was super useful. And yeah, just having that open dialogue and being able to collaborate with the producers and the writers. I remember when I first got the role, they sent me like this I would call it like a little mini encyclopedia of terms, and like I was going through it and literally like learning it, like the different types of ghosts and sort of all the different language within the show. So they was just super helpful, always on hand, and very open to collaborate. And just always had an open dialogue with them.
We meet Flo in episode 5. She gets into this contentious discussion with Lucy about integrity and being a relic hunter, because it's a living that some look down upon. So, what can you share about Flo's past and why her current life as a relic woman gives her that peace and purpose?
Yes. So, I guess I can spoil it, I think. Sometimes in my mind, I'm like, is this a spoiler? Is this, I don't know what, but I will say in short, so Flo used to be an agent, worked in top agencies. She worked at Rockwell at the beginning, and then she moved to a smaller agency. And then during a mission that they went on, her and her team got attacked, and it was fatal because her team died that evening. They got attacked by ghosts and her team died, and she managed to survive. She hid herself under sort of like an iron cross, and I think that event really impacted Flo, and she saw the sort of, I guess, fragility of of being part of an agency, and I guess the exploitation as well of how they constantly chew young people, spit them out, and when they deem them not useful anymore. And I guess she just wanted out. So she made a decision to just leave agency life, and leave all sort of personal relationships as well. And then she became a relic hunter, the only woman relic hunter. I think being a relic hunter, even though it is illegal and dangerous, I think for her it gives her a sense of freedom, ownership over her own sort of who she is, what she can do. She is earning her own money. She doesn't have to rely on anyone, and she doesn't have to form bonds with anyone, because that again brings that back, that trauma of what happened that night. She makes her money, does her own thing, and she's happy. She lives on the Thames, because that's where she feels safe, next to water. And she's her own boss. She doesn't have to answer to anybody else. And she recognizes actually, the corruption of the sort of bigger agencies and how they don't look after their employees. And we see it in episode 1, right? When Lucy is part of the agency, and what happens after that fatal attack. So I guess being a relic hunter for Flo just brings her a sense of there is a word, it's just not coming to me. But I'll take ownership for now. Well, not even ownership, but like, oh, do you know what the word I'm trying to think of is?
Trying to think. I do like the word ownership though, because it is
Yeah.
really fitting in terms of, having that control and that autonomy and having
Oh,
like looking out for herself, right?
yeah, autonomy, I would say, like that, the autonomy to make her own choices, and her choices don't affect anyone. In her mind, her choices don't affect anyone,
They
but
kind
we know
of do
that
sometimes, but
they kind of do. But in her own mind, she's making money, she's earning money, she's doing what she wants to do, and no one can tell her anything really. Yeah, yeah. So I think when she first meets Lucy, and they get into it on the Thames, I think for her it's just like, you first off, you don't know what I've been through, and I don't think you really know what um being an agent really means. I think you think you're doing something noble and good, but actually you're also part of the problem. You're also, by you being in an agency, you're perpetuating the problem. The problem continues. Um, so yeah, I think Flo sees herself as a bit of a feminist in a weird way. Not even a feminist, but yeah, like,
I get what you mean in terms of like outside of the system, like that kind
yeah,
of thing.
she's, yeah, renegade. I don't know. Words fail me
Rebel,
now.
something like that.
Rebel, yeah, but like, um, she's like quite self-righteous in a way, a little bit, in who she is. Yeah.
I
But
like
yeah,
that.
not
And
feminine.
I mean, in a way, though, you could say like being the only relic woman, like that does give it does give a sense of pride as well. So in a way, like
Yeah,
I don't think it's completely inaccurate. It's just, there's so much more to her. She's not entirely a feminist. She just wants to take control and make those own choices and decisions. And it was such an impassioned scene. I'm sure it was really fun getting to kind of bounce off of Ruby in that moment.
yeah. Like, I mean, it was cold. It was so cold that day. It was so cold, but it was great. Like, Ruby is incredible. She's such a gifted actress, honestly. So yeah, I just remember doing it that day. Yeah, it was just very natural and easy. And afterwards we just go and talk together like, oh, Ruby. But it was yeah, it was fun to do. It was just really, really fun to do. Um yeah. And I think that was actually the first time we actually had done the scene, and I had officially, well, no, I met Ruby a little bit before, but like that day was when I got to know Ruby a little bit more. Um, because came in quite late to the shoot. Like, I was 8 months in, whereas everyone started in, I think, May. Um, so, but they was just so lovely and so welcoming, um, and it's always quite hard when you're doing like a like a really, like, I don't know, contentious scene,
Intense scene, yeah.
like yeah, confrontational scene. So like, and you, yeah, but it was so chill. It was so, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it's great.
Do you think Flo, like, does she still have lingering talent from when she was an agent?
Oh, yeah, I reckon so. I reckon so. Yeah, I mean, for her to be a relic hunter, she would have to have some sort of talent, because it is, I guess, relics are just sort of cyclical, like objects that have like left cyclical charge, but some relics can be sources. So, and then a ghost is always tethered to a source. So, I, yeah, I think she has some form of sight um left in her. Yeah.
I was curious about where exactly Flo lives and sleeps because we see her along the river at night. She kind of got like a little campfire set up, and then she has Matilda, but like how exactly, like I'm sure she sleeps somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, she does. So again, that was part of my sort of research and like building up my character, and came to the conclusion that she sleeps on a houseboat, which is like yeah, sort of moored up probably like one of the London canals. So that's where she sort of sleeps. But I think she spends most of her time on Matilda. Um, and then like if she has some sort of spare time, she wants to go and sleep in a comfortable place, she would go back to a houseboat. Yeah.
She seems like a person who would, she doesn't strike me as getting much sleep though. It seems like
Yeah,
she
that's no. She doesn't get much sleep at all. She's always out in the night doing her deals. Yeah, no. I think she'll get like 3-4 hours at best.
always working, Flo
Always
Bones.
working, always getting that cash dollar. Yeah.
Which was your favorite scene to be a part of and why?
Um. Oh, I have two. I can't pick between them. Okay, I'll pick. Oh, okay. Oh, they were all so good, to be honest.
We can take
But
them both.
oh, okay. I would say the scene in the study, in at Portland Road, with Flo, Lockwood, and George, me, Ali, and Cameron. That was really fun. That was fun to do. I ate so many biscuits that day. So many. But yeah, it was just really fun to do. Um, I just remember it being a really fun day. And that was the first time I officially met Cameron actually that day. Or was it the day? Yeah, no, I think it was that day. I can't remember. But like, so, and yeah, it was just so fun because actually me and Cameron between sex were just getting to know each other. I remember we were just chatting about like what we're watching at the moment, like just getting to know each other. And it really helped actually with our chemistry on screen as well. So yeah, just getting to know the crew that day. So that was really fun. Also, another fun scene was the when me and George, Flo and George, were on the boat, and Flo and George are bonding over like a concoction that Flo has made. And they're bonding, and that's where I like sort of tie the ribbon, and I tie the ribbon in my hair, and then I see a heron. And that was really fun, I guess, because it was nice to see a sort of different sides of Flo, or it was nice to see Flo let her guard down, and that was fun to play. And I remember that day being really, really fun as well, just shooting that, because we had got into a rhythm with those scenes as well. So yeah, that was really cool.
Those scenes are great. We'll circle back to the first one. Was so what kind of biscuits was it? Do you know that you were eating so much of? They look good. I know it's a central
They
part of like
were.
the Lockwood and Co kind of story as well.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm so sorry. It was it was like they were good, but I had a lot of them. So by the end I was like, oh my God, oh my gosh. Um they were they had cream in the middle. Um they were actually, I think they were actually uh Shari Mubarani. Oh wait, what's the word? I don't want to get it wrong. The Iranian biscuits. I think they were that. They were so good. I can't remember. I just remember them being really good. They had like a creamy bit in the middle.
What do you think what did she feel when she sees George walk into the room for the first time? Was that kind of on that timeline, that storyboard? What were her emotions? Because that was such a like meet cute interaction, and it was something so unexpected to Lockwood, as you can see in Cameron's face.
What was Flo feeling in that moment? I guess because Flo and Lockwood go back a long way. So um, obviously Flo meets Lucy, who is new to his agency, but she's a bit like dismissive of Lucy, of like, oh, there's another one who wants to like, sort of like roll with sort of the agency crew. But I think with George, I think she's intrigued by his, I don't know, his quirkiness, I guess. I think they're quite similar in a little bit, in a way, that they're quite unapologetically themselves. Yeah, so I think she's curious first and foremost about who's this person. He's part of your team, and he's cooking as well.
Tasty line, that delivery was spot on. It was so good. In terms of
that was fun to do.
being on the Thames, like what was it like having Ali as a scene partner? Like, what do you remember from that first screen test you did with each other, and having that kind of carry through the scenes that you had in the season?
Yeah. Ali, again, another incredible. I mean, everyone on the show is incredible, but Ali, insane. Like, honestly, incredible actor. So generous, so kind, and just, yeah, playful in his work as well. Like, he really loves to play in when acting. So yes, meeting him screen test. Oh, I remember I was a little bit, I was nervous. Well, I was nervous because I was like, oh gosh, are we gonna have chemistry? But it was so fun. Like, he was so lovely. I can't remember too much of it, but I just remember we were talking about shoes. We got on, like, I remember in between like our scenes, when, like, I don't know, something was happening, we just get into a conversation about our shoes. I don't know. I don't remember that. I just remember talking about our shoes. So that was quite fun. But so lovely. Like, really, he was telling me about the shoots and how it's been going for him. Because obviously they've been on it longer and they've been shooting longer. So that was really lovely, actually. The screen test, and then we had like sort of couple rehearsals together before our first scene. Our first scene that we shot was the last scene, actually, when I asked him to like come heron watching with me. That was our first scene that we shot. So he's been like sort of so pivotal in my experience, being part of the show, because he'd often, like, we'd have our scenes together, but he'd often like tell me things of like, oh, this is this person, this is that person, just like help me get to know the cast and the crew and who everyone was, and like really be so welcoming. I mean, everyone was so welcoming. Like, it was such a great space to be a part of. But yeah, I think Ali really just was just kind and generous, and always was looking out for me during our shoots.
Such a nice bond that I don't think like goes away. It's something that you really remember from your time on set. That scene where we can really see, like you mentioned, like Flo let her guard down a bit. We see how she sees the world and lives life. What does she mean when she says to George, we can smell our own, regarding needing to get him away from the desperation he feels for that bone glass?
I think because she recognizes it. She's seen it before. She's seen it before, and she's seen the damaging effects of what being mesmerized can do. And I think she's grown fond of George by that point. So she just goes into sort of protection mode a little bit. I think the main thing is that she recognizes it, and as much as she didn't want to, because I think Flo is very like any form of, and I think that's why she hasn't seen Lockwood for a long time. Like, again, I think she's also very fond of Lockwood, they're good friends. So, but she recognizes that he's sometimes can be a little bit reckless, and to be a part of that means that she has to someone form that not form that relationship, but like having to look out for that person, like actually having to look out for them. Like Lockwood comes to her just to ask a question about the bone glass, and now she's helping them try to get it. And that's how Flo is very loyal. That's it. She's very, very loyal. And if she sees someone who she cares about in danger, much of a better judgment, like she has to just like help them. And I think she sees that within George as well. Like she sees that he's becoming mesmerized, so she has to get him away from there, because she cares for him in a way. Yeah.
I have to say, Flo and George placed that net perfectly to catch Lucy's throwing the mirror. I for sure thought someone would have to swim for it. So did that ever come up, like how perfectly they placed it? It didn't look very big.
That was hilarious filming that. I remember, yeah, I think it took us two times. I don't know. I think I remember there was one time they threw it and it just bobbed away. One time they threw it. I think we got it. We got it most of the time. I think one of them kind of bobbed away. I remember, and I was like, the bone glass is gone. So yeah, it wasn't a perfect take by no means. Yeah.
Flo mentions, like you said earlier, she is double booked with another job. She says that in episode 7. What other kinds of jobs does she accept? Like, what other parties does she do business with on a regular basis?
Oh, what other jobs does she accept? I think, yeah, I guess with other relic men. She's sort of built a network for herself. I imagine that's what I wrote in my little sort of Flo diary, that she's constantly on the lookout for sort of the latest relic in the black market. So she's built a little network for herself. Like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. If you hear of anything, let me know. So I'd say with relic men. Also say with you know, normal people, like not normal people, but like, people, your average Joes who are into relics as well. Because we see that with the auction as well, and with Winkman's auction. I think what the problem brought, even though people were quite sort of understandably frightened of, ghosts and ghosts lurking around, it also brought a sense of curiosity and yeah, a little bit of curiosity about what this actually means, and with relics and sources and people collecting them and keeping them, even though they're really dangerous. So I think Flo has kind of has her ear to the ground. Think murder weapons is something that she collects a lot, because that has a lot of psychical charge. I'm guessing. Murder weapons that she finds in the Thames. Yeah, relics. Relics such as, I mean, the little bow from the around the neck of a drowned Dalmatian. Different things. I think she's a real collector, and I don't think watches, purses. Just thinking of things that I wrote down, like random things. I think Flo could start a shop with the things that she collects. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
You know what they say about supply and demand. So there's clearly a lot of demand in this world right now. Flo also seems like the person who wouldn't like second guess and ask a lot of questions, which has to do with like the relic hunter life. Where does she keep everything she collects? Because I imagine it can't be that safe on the boat, or I don't know.
True, very true, very true. Yeah. I I think she keeps some things on Matilda, so it's like very much like I got a job, yeah, I'm gonna sell it to you, fine. Like it's very much an exchange thing. I don't think I wouldn't imagine she keeps things for long. Um, I think she keeps things that um are sort of fascinating to her, like the ribbon that she kept. Um, and uh, she has different trinkets on Matilda as well that she keeps. Things that like are quite just oh, she says it. What's the line? She says it in episode 7. Um, treasured things. She likes to keep like things that meant something to people. Um, I think she keeps those things. I think things that could be potentially dangerous, she sells straight away, and she probably gets a bit of money for that as well because it's. I think the more dangerous, the more expensive. That's me guessing. Fans don't kill me if I'm wrong with it.
I think that could say a lot about her character, though. It's like
Yeah.
she doesn't, it's not necessarily like she wants to keep this. She's not trying to wield that power for
No.
herself. What would she do with her money, though? Like she mentions it, she collects this money. What exactly does she plan to do with it? Like, did you think about that when you were trying to figure out your character?
I think Flo's a survivor. So I think that like um I think she doesn't make a great deal of money. She makes money for her to like continue living this life, but I don't think she makes a great deal of money. I think she just spends her money on just basic living costs of like food, drink. I think she helps people out as well. I reckon. I reckon she helps people out. Um, I remember talking to producers about like Flo's family and is she still in contact with family? And we kind of decided there was no mention in the books, but we kind of decided that like her family are still alive. I mean, her parents are still alive. Sorry, but she doesn't sort of see them. Maybe if once or twice a year, maybe to drop them something. So I mean, she might give money to her parents ever so often, but like I guess I'd say that she's not out here spending her money on lavish things. She's very economical. Like she's very economical. She needs something, she'll get it.
That money to her parents thing, I think, could work. And it's one of those things where they might not have that relationship anymore, but she'll always kind of be there in case they need
Yeah.
her. And definitely not clothing. She doesn't spend the money on that. Her fashion sense, though, I love it. I mean, it's so kind of on brand for, I think, what we read about her, like in the books. And it's something that works for her. Maybe she has to pay some money for boat upkeep, make sure Matilda can act as
Yeah,
that
yeah.
getaway vehicle.
Yeah. Boat upkeep. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you were saying earlier, and we know Flo is mentioned to be Lockwood's oldest friend. They've gone through their darkest days together. Can you elaborate on their relationship? Like, what does she like about and see in Lockwood that keeps each other around? Like, they keep each other around as friends, even though they don't see each other all the time.
The the loyalty aspect of Lockwood and how he would do anything for the people that he loves. And I think Flo sees a little bit of like herself in that. And I guess even though Lockwood again is quite reckless in how he does things, the heart behind it is always sort of pure and sincere. Um, so I think from early on, yeah, they they had this bond, and I think um, because of that, because of the loyalty towards each other, I don't think it can ever be broken. Now I don't think Flo enjoys the way or how Lockwood goes about doing things. And I think for that reason, maybe is why they don't see each other, amongst other reasons. But I think it does something. I think she is genuinely happy to see him when he comes to visit her on the Thames, because I think she genuinely thinks like waiting. She's waiting, not waiting actively waiting, but like sometimes she thinks, is he okay, or am I going to hear of? Is he going to end up being dead? Am I going to hear of him being killed on a mission? So I think, yeah, that genuine care and the loyalty they have to each other, and yeah, I think that's what sort of keeps them in each other's lives. They sort of look out for each other from afar. Yeah, and because she knows him, she knows the real him, she knows the true him. She knows, like, obviously what's behind the door, I won't say. But she knows who he really is, outside of the bravado. So, and I think because of that, that's what sort of, yeah, keeps them in each other's lives, I guess. Just repeating myself, but yeah.
She does know what's behind that door. She does kind of mention it. She also makes a comment. She thought Lockwood would be dead by now.
Yeah.
In terms of when they first met, is that something you talked about, or is that something that could potentially be explored in the future?
Yeah. I don't think we necessarily spoke on it specifically, but we definitely like explored sort of their relationship and where that's come from. But yeah, it could be potentially
Did you and
explored.
Cameron have more discussions after that, like kind of initial scene you filmed together about maybe a bit of the backstory?
No, not necessarily. We kind of both knew, like we kind of sort of anchored our backstory in meeting at sort of when we were both at the big agencies, and me beating Lockwood and Quill Kipps in a fencing match. But we never went sort of, did we? Sorry, it was so long ago. My memories. Yeah, we did a bit. We spoke about, we spoke about their relationship and how long it's been since we haven't seen each other, and yeah, where our sort of our friendship started. But I think what we done is we built, like, we really got to know each other as people, and I think like that really helped us with our on screen of like, I remember that day we filmed in Portland Row, and just between takes we were just literally just getting to know each other as people, and it really helped with, actually, you are my friend, like I know who you are. So yeah.
Which was your favorite scene as a viewer and why? So scene that Flo was not in.
Oh, there are so many. Oh, I can I be cheeky and put to you again? The first one would definitely be the fight scene in episode 8. I thought that was so badass. I thought that was sick. Yeah, the scene where Winkman and his men are running in the graveyard, and then like you have like Lockwood, Cat, and the rest of the Fitz team going after them. I thought that was amazing, like that whole choreography. And I always heard about it, and I know that was like one of the sort of the first things that they shot. And heard how they had to do sort of choreography for it and stuff, and I was like, oh, I want to do stunts. That sounds amazing. And just seeing it come to life, it looks epic. I also really like the first scene with when Lucy first comes to Portland Road. I thought that scene was so good, like funny, like well written, like witty, just yeah, really good. And you got a sense of who these characters were. Yeah, I really like those.
Yeah, that Portland Rose scene, like the mannerisms, you can see how they all interact with each other and kind of a taste of the dynamics to come. The fight scene as well, really good pick there. I can start with maybe like kind of asking you to explain again, like why is Flo not favorable to Lucy when they first meet? And do you think her perception of Lucy changes after they obtain the bone glass and you see kind of the lengths that she would go through to finish a mission?
Yeah, Flo didn't quite like Lucy at the beginning. Not, I wouldn't say necessarily because of Lucy, but because of what she represented or who she represented. Of oh, here's another person who's part of this agency, even though it's my friend's agency, who thinks they're doing good, who thinks they're doing good and I'm doing bad. But in fact, she doesn't know actually she's also part of the problem. And she also is quite out of her depth when it comes to, you know, ghost hunting, the problem, agencies, corruption. So it's more not necessarily like Flo dislikes her, but Flo's sort of dismissive of her, of like, who are you? You've just come on, you're a new agent, and you're judging me on my sort of lifestyle choices. I think I truly think, yeah, I think Flo's view of Lucy does change. Even I would say, I would argue, even before she obtains the bone glass, I think even like when they're going into Winkman's into the auction in episode 7, and I sort of give Lucy a warning of like, be careful, like they're a lot worse than ghosts. I think in my mind anyway, I think Flo's quite surprised that Lucy is still around and she's still doing this, and she's got the guts to sort of go in and face these very dangerous people. So I think from then her view of her slightly changes, and I think, I mean, we don't ever see it, but by her, after them obtaining the bone glass, for sure, I think Flo's view of her will change. 100%, yeah.
I think it's one of those things where if you can't talk these people out of doing these dangerous things, you can try to, support them and keep them safe as best as Flo can. Like you mentioned, it goes back to that caring aspect. Are you team Locklyle? Like, what are your thoughts on Lucy and Lockwood? Because she makes a comment, she knows that he acts differently around Lucy. And I'm sure she has seen people come and go from that agency over the years.
Yeah, Locklyle, love it. I love it. It's been so great, like seeing the little videos online and stuff. Yeah, why not? Is Flo or me, Hayley, myself?
You could say either or yeah, like or both.
I would
You can
say,
give your
yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, do you know what? Lockwood and Lucy go through so much together in this season, and they have such great chemistry, and that is credit to Cameron and Ruby. Honestly, they, again, incredible actors, like so yeah, all the way team Locklyle. And I think, yeah, their relationship is so complex as well. there's so many layers. I don't think it's surface at all, actually. I think there are so many layers, and it is a real slow burn as well. Which again, credit to the writers, Jonathan Stroud, like it, it's so, and I think that's why everyone is so eager, like so invested in it. But yeah, they're great. They're absolutely great. They're amazing.
I imagine for Flo, she just wants to see Lockwood happy and maybe find
Yeah.
a better sense of security knowing his past. So, if the show was renewed for season two, future seasons, please, season two, where are you? What would you like to explore with Flo Bones?
Yeah, I think there is so much to like unearth with Flo. Yeah, maybe her past, look into that. Um, and yeah, seeing her interact more with the three, that and seeing what that dynamic is like. I think that'd be really, really cool. Um, yeah, and just seeing maybe some interactions with some other characters that we met in season one potentially. But yeah, I guess yeah, unearthing more of who Flo is. That'd be really fun to do. Um, and I just would love to film more with Ali, Cameron, and Ruby because they're just great. Honestly, I'm not just saying that, they are really, really great. Like just incredible sort of scene partners, acting colleagues, and now friends. So yeah, yeah.
Do you think Flo would have been disappointed after hearing what George did with that bone glass after she left him?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I don't think she'd be disappointed. I think she'd be concerned. I think she'd understand why, because actually, I don't think she really wanted George to give it into deep rap. I mean, she definitely wanted George away from the bone glass, but again, she doesn't trust deep rack. So um him not handing it to them, I don't think she'd be disappointed, but I think she'd just be more concerned because she knows the power of the bone glass and what it can do, and George being mesmerized by it. So I reckon she'd be more concerned than disappointed. Yeah.
I mean, her, Flo, and George and Heron's sounds peaceful, so mark that
Yeah.
up in season two. Also, of course, you mentioned like working as an ally, getting to maybe know Lucy a bit more.
Mhm.
If she interacted with the Fitz crew, do you think that would be an interesting scene? I don't know if they would take very well to
Oh, yeah,
Flo.
yes, yes. Get me with a fit screw.
Can you imagine? It's
I
basically
reckon,
everything Flo does not stand for.
yeah, right. That would be really interesting, actually. Her interaction with Fitz crew. Um, I guess, yeah, that would be so interesting to see. That'd be fun.
Are there any other storylines that you would be excited to see more of, just as a fan of the show?
As a fan, yeah, for sure. What's behind the door? Um, why is Marissa Fitz so suspicious? Who is Golden Blade? Why does he know about Lockwood's family, his parents? Yeah, I guess all the cliffhangers that were left in season one. Yeah, it'd be great as a fan to see what would happen, could happen. Yeah.
So we talked about, getting to know some of these cast members more on set. What are some of your other favorite memories from behind the scenes, even just interacting with the crew during season one?
Yeah, I think for me, like it was just the beauty of like, I would say like filming in these mad locations, like filming actually on the Thames, like filming on a boat at 2 a.m. in January. But and don't get me wrong, it was hard. It was hard, but it was so much fun. I think my best memory was when Jonathan Stroud came on and he'd done a little cameo in the scene between me, Flo, Lockwood, and Lucy. I remember, I think I got told that day. And I was like, and I'm glad I was told that day, because if I was told before, I'd been even more like of a nervous wreck. But it was so lovely. Jonathan was so like kind and gracious, and just so grateful that we were like taking on these roles. And like, it's always that sort of nerve-wracking thing of like, the writer of the show is in the scene, and like, am I doing his character justice? But he was so encouraging and so reassuring, and like just so thankful that we were bringing these characters to life, and it's everything that he dreamed of and more. And I'm just so grateful for that. I'm grateful that sort of his vision came to life, and I got to be a part of that.
In terms of the fans, what message do you have for them, those who have been tuning in, all the fan art, all the lovely comments, and like, what do you really hope they take away from season 1 and Flo Bones?
Oh, I just want to say thank you so much. Truly thank you. I am so overwhelmed and grateful for all the love and support, that, and all the messages. I'm really bad with social media, so I'm hardly on it sometimes. So when I do, and I'm just seeing all this outpouring of love, like, I'm just truly grateful. Like, thank you. Also, you artists out there, you are talented. Like, seeing all the fan art that's come out of this has been insane. Like, it's been so, I'm just so happy that they are enjoying it as much as we've enjoyed making it. And yeah, like, thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful. Thank you. I mean, even saying thank you is not enough, but yeah, I was so incredibly grateful and thankful for all your love, and like just keeping it going as well. So yeah.
Have you read any of the reviews, like when the show was released? Is that something you stay away from?
Yeah, I at first I didn't, and then I like, a few people have sent me bits here and there, but I've only read like 2 or 3. I haven't. I'm one of those. I don't really read, not really read reviews, but I just want to keep the memory of what we've done, and now it's out there, it's for the world, and that's it. And I just want to be confident in that I've done my job as best as I can, and now it's for the world to see and to enjoy, and to, yeah, have fun with. So I haven't read much. I haven't read many reviews. I think they've, on the whole, been really positive. So I can just take like heart in that, and then take heart in the fact that, like, yeah, people have loved it, and that's what matters. That also the fans, like, the books, have really enjoyed it, and yeah. But it's been such a like wild ride, and I truly, like, I believe like this job has like changed my life. Like, it's just been incredible, from the audition process to shooting, and now from to it going out. I'm just truly thankful to be part of such a great team and project. Yeah.
It's really about the people who make it, and those are the memories you want to keep. I did read a comment on Twitter that Flo is the unfiltered voice of reason, and you play her so well. So
That's
I think
such a great, yeah, that's such a great description. Yeah, yeah.
you'll have to take that as a tagline in the future, of course.
Yeah.
And before I ask you the final question, like, I have to say, you played Flo so well, and I'm glad that you were able to bring this light and a voice to her from the book. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
everything with the show.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And our signature question for you, if you could be any ice cream flavor, which would you be and why?
If I could be any ice cream flavor, I'd be cookie dough, specifically Ben and Jerry's, specifically vegan ice cream because I'm dairy free. So, but yeah, I'd be cookie dough. I love cookie dough. Yeah, cookie dough's great.
I like it. Sponsorship, please. I like that you had to throw the vegan in there because that is an important part, obviously, if you are dairy free right now. But
I miss
how
it.
long
But
have you been dairy free for?
oh, okay. So I'm one of those people that I call myself, I'm lactose intolerant and like, but you ignore it. Do you know those people? I was one of those, but like last year it got really bad, and I was like, you know what? I think I need to take this seriously. So I like went off dairy officially like last October. Like that's when I was really strict about it, and I was like, actually, I can't have dairy anymore. It's
I
messing
can't
me up.
do this. It's
I
it's too
can't
bad
do
for
this
my
anymore.
body. Yeah.
Yeah. So officially November, but I've been lactose intolerant for a very long time. Um,
Longer
but
than you'd
yeah,
like to admit, but
longer than I like to admit, but yeah. Ben and Jerry's, vegan, cookie dough, ice cream. Woo, perfection.
and it's almost the summer, so you get to enjoy that more.
Yay. Yeah, yeah.
That is all the questions I have for you, Hayley. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat. It's been such
You,
a pleasure.
thank you so much for having me. And uh it's yeah, it's been fun to like reminisce on uh yeah, shooting um Lockwood Co. And just going back and just drawing back to those memories because it feels so long ago now, even though it came out last year. Like, so yeah, it's nice to go back to those times and just look back on it with fondness. Yeah.
Of course, for all those watching, make sure to catch Hayley in Lockwood and Co. season 1 on Netflix, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.